dass hier gleich dieses GeForce-Event anfängt, weil ich der einzige Heini bin in der ganzen Crew, der sich für... Na? Hallo? Der sich für PC-Kram interessiert. Dachte ich mir, ich schmeiß schnell den Stream an. Und jetzt habt ihr den Salat. Oh, es ist mir zu laut. Ich mach's mir ein bisschen leiser und euch ein bisschen lauter. Schauen, ob das jetzt auch läuft. Ja, sieht gut aus.
I hope all of you are staying safe. We're going to talk about an amazing GPU today. Modern GPUs are technology marvels. It is the engine of large industries from design, cloud AI to scientific computing.
Sorry, ich bin hier
But it
gerade
is the
nebenbei noch ein
gamers
bisschen...
and their insatiable demand that is the driving force of the GPU. Pulling their GPUs to create the largest distributed computer ever. A million gamers united to counter-strike the COVID-19 coronavirus. The result was 2.8 exaflops. 5 times the processing power of the world's largest supercomputer to simulate the virus. Folding at home was able to simulate 100 milliseconds, a tenth of a second in the life of the coronavirus, and captured a moment it opens its mouth to infect a human cell. Scientists believe this is also its moment of weakness. Thank you all for joining this historic fight. We're going to talk about computer graphics and the work we're doing to push the boundaries. We love computer graphics and have advanced it incredibly in the time of NVidia. As the technology advanced, the expressiveness of the medium has made graphics an invaluable tool to help us understand our world, create and explore new worlds, tell stories that inspire us. From science to industry to the arts, computer graphics has made a profound impact on the world, and for that, we are privileged to have contributed. We're going to talk about gaming and the infinite ways that gaming is expanding. GeForce PC gaming
Irgendwas habe ich hier
is
falsch
large
gemacht. So,
and
jetzt
It's open and
sollte es
rapidly
theoretisch
advancing
wieder
technology
funktionieren.
combined with the amazing creativity of the community makes magic. Anyone could be a broadcaster now. Add a GeForce and you're in
So,
personal
ich kann schon mal
broadcasting.
versprechen, dass wir keine neue
Pros
Konsole
stream their
sehen.
practices.
Ich kann schon mal
Experts stream tips
versprechen,
and tricks. Friends stream to friends just to
dass
hang out.
wir...
There are over
Ja,
20
ich weiß
million
nicht,
streamers.
ob wir Spiele sehen? Keine Ahnung.
Games have become a new art medium. In Minecraft,
Wen
gamers
interessiert's?
can
Ich
build
bin
their
nur
work
hier,
model.
damit wir
Machinima artists
uns
create
nicht
cinematics
nachsagen
made
lassen
from game
können.
assets.
Wir hätten nicht alles
Tens of
gecovert, was
millions are
irgendwie zu
using
covern
games to
wäre.
express their creativity. Inside a computer simulation, any sport can become esport. Virtual NASCAR and F1 are already attracting top racers. Like sports, esports captures the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and the human drama of athletic competition. Esports is on its way to be the biggest sport. I have something special for all the GeForce gamers around the world. 4 gifts. I hope you like them, and you'll find new ways to game. First, big news. Fortnite is turning RTX on. Now Minecraft and Fortnite, the number 1
Yay,
and
mehr
number 2
Ray
most played games in
Tracing.
the world, have RTX on. Fortnite will get ray trace shadows, reflections, ambient occlusion, and DLSS 2. These effects look fantastic with the art style of Fortnite.
Okay,
I
kein
can't wait
Path
to see a
Tracing?
Fortnite concert with RTX on. The last one with Travis Scott was watched by 28 million people. Epic made a trailer for you. Let's play it now.
Ja, zeig mal her. So, Reflexion. Schatten. Mehr Reflexion. Na gut. Das Blöde an Raytracing ist halt, dass man nie
75%
genau
GeForce gamers
weiß,
play esports.
welchen
Esports is a
Umfang
game
das
of
hat.
milliseconds.
Manche Spiele haben
Reaction
halt
time is a
nur Schatten,
combination
manche
of the
Spiele
gamer
haben
and the
nur
machine.
Reflexion,
Let me
manche haben
explain.
beides, manche haben
This is
komplettes
Valorant.
Path
In this
Tracing,
example, the opponent
bei
is
der
traveling
dann
at
die
1500
komplette
pixels per second,
Umgebungsbeleuchtung
and
simuliert
it's
wird und so
visible in this
weiter.
opening for only 180
Typical
milliseconds.
Gamer
A
Reaction
typical
Time.
gamer has a reaction time of 150 milliseconds
Jo,
from
dankeschön.
photon to action. You can only hit this opponent if your PC adds less than 30 milliseconds. Most gamers have latencies far greater than 30 milliseconds, many up to 100 milliseconds. Today we're announcing a new esports technology called NVidia Reflex.
Okay.
NVIDIA Reflex optimizes the rendering pipeline across CPU and GPU to reduce latency by up to 50%. In September, we're releasing Reflex with our game-ready driver. Over 100 million GeForce gamers will instantly become more competitive. Valorant, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, and Destiny 2
Also für alle Karten habe ich richtig verstanden, ja?
Reflex technology. Esports pros and enthusiasts strive for
Schön.
For you, we're announcing an insanely fast and beautiful display. A 360 Hz G-Sync display designed for esports.
Sehr wahrscheinlich die neuen GeForce-Karten vorgestellt werden.
The NVidia 360 Hz G-Sync esports displays are arriving this fall from Acer, Alienware, Asus, and MSI. We've made a video comparing gaming on a 60 Hz, 144 Hz, and 360 Hz display. You can see immediately how 360 Hz display will help you target and track an opponent.
Heißt Nachfolgekarten der aktuellen RTX.
NVIDIA Broadcast turns any room into a broadcast studio. NVIDIA Broadcast runs AI algorithms trained by deep learning on NVIDIA's DGX supercomputer, one of the most powerful in the world. Effects like audio noise removal, virtual background effects whether graphics or video, and webcam auto-framing is a virtual camera person tracking you. These AI effects are amazing. Available for download in September and runs on any RTX GPU. Brandon and GeForce Marketing will now show you NVIDIA Broadcast.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon and I'm very excited today to talk to you about our NVIDIA Broadcast app. Like many of you, I've been home a lot more lately. I've been video conferencing all day and then gaming and streaming all night. And I have a very basic webcam and microphone setup. NVIDIA Broadcast makes these things
very basic. Das Mikrofon, das der Kerl da hat, kostet locker die 200.
The first one I want to talk about is noise removal.
Very basic.
So I've asked my girlfriend to join me with a blow dryer here. And that distracting sound makes it very hard to understand what I'm saying. But when I turn on noise removal in NVIDIA Broadcast, you find that it's completely gone. And that blow dryer is still going. But NVIDIA Broadcast isn't just awesome audio features. There's some really exciting video features as well. Let's take a look. First up, we have the ability to blur your background, which you may notice that I need because I have a very cluttered and messy room. But when I turn this background blur feature on, all of a sudden I get this really classy effect. And I can adjust the strength of that from low to high and everything in between.
Selbst Teams mittlerweile.
Or, if I want, I can actually replace the background altogether.
Ah, die Kanten sind ganz sauber.
Now I'm in a space station with the magic of AI.
Hinten beim Stuhl und bei den Haaren sieht man noch ein bisschen.
Gameplay, I can remove the background altogether.
Das Flackern.
And jump into some Valorant. And now I'm playing with a green screen effect.
Aber das ist cool.
Without actually having to have one at home. I don't have to play good, but at least I can look good.
Da muss man halt warten, wie gut das tatsächlich funktioniert mit verschiedenen Hintergründen.
I want to zoom in to get a more personal connection with the audience. But the problem
Grundsätzlich, je dunkler das Zimmer oder je matschiger, wie bei mir jetzt gerade, umso schwieriger wird die ganze Kiste.
It's like having your own personal cameraman that follows you wherever you go.
Ja, das kann Teams auch.
So, if for example, I wanted to reach over and grab my cool Valorant hat.
Aber sehr flüssig. Wenn es denn so funktioniert, wie es da funktioniert, dann ist es echt flüssig.
I just find NVIDIA Broadcast to be really exciting, as both a streamer and as someone who works from home.
Das ist ganz nett.
The ability to remove distracting
Nicht
noise,
spektakulär, aber
improve
ganz
your
nett.
background, and keep yourself in the center of the frame are all awesome features in one app, and I just can't wait for you guys to try it.
A new form of art has emerged from gaming called machinima. Artists are using game assets to create cinematics. There's been tens of billions of views on YouTube. Most are shorts. Some are even recreating entire classic movies. It's becoming a whole new art genre. Today, I'm going to show you an app that will make these cinematics amazing. It's called NVIDIA Omniverse Machinima. It's an app built on our Omniverse 3D workflow collaboration platform. Omniverse is a universal design tool asset exchange with a viewer based on photorealistic path tracing. The engine is designed to be physically accurate, simulating light, physics, material, and artificial intelligence. We have connectors for most third-party design tools, like 3ds Max, Maya, Photoshop, Epic Unreal, Rhino, and many more.
Also quasi
the
Plugins
app
für
brings in elements and
bestehende
assets from games
Rendering
and third-party collections
Systeme.
like TurboSquid, and lets you mix and compose them into a cinematic.
Für RTX.
Creators can use their webcam to drive our AI-based post estimator to animate characters.
Doch nicht unbedingt.
Drive face animation AI with your voice. Add high-fidelity physics like particles and fluids. Make materials physically accurate. And then when done with your composition and mixing, Render film quality cinematics with your RTX GPU. NVIDIA Omniverse Machinima. Beta in October. Sign up at nvidia.com/machinima. Let me show you a demo we created in a few days. We started with assets from Mountain Blade 2, Banner Lord. You're gonna love this.
Okay, also für Leute, die Machinima machen, das ist laut. Für Leute, die Machinima machen, ist das ziemlich cool wahrscheinlich. Aber beinhaltet das jetzt auch Charakteranimationen und alles? Oder ist das nur, in Anführungszeichen, hauptsächlich ein Add-on für Maya und was weiß ich?
With real-time ray tracing. NVIDIA, seeing the ultimate limits of rasterization approaching, focused intense efforts over the past 10 years to realize real-time ray tracing on a large scale. At SIGGRAPH 2 years ago, we announced the NVIDIA RTX. Now 2 years later, it is clear we have reinvented computer graphics.
Ja. Mit 5 Spielen, die das unterstützen. Ich bin immer noch sauer deswegen. Die waren nicht billig, die blöde Karte.
RTX is a home run. All major 3D APIs have been extended for RTX. RTX is supported by all major 3D tools. RTX tech is incorporated into all major game engines. There are hundreds of games in development.
In development, okay.
Papers of new rendering and AI algorithms enabled by RTX. The RTX GPU has 3 fundamental processors. The programmable shader that we first introduced over 15 years ago, RT Core to accelerate the ray triangle and ray bounding box intersection.
Okay, warum reden wir jetzt über alte RTX-Karten?
Tensor Core accelerates linear algebra that is used for deep neural networks.
Hey, ich mache ihn mal wieder ein bisschen lauter hier.
Foundation of modern AI. AI is the most powerful technology force of our time. Computers that learn from data and write software that no humans can. The advances are nothing short of breathtaking. NVIDIA is doing groundbreaking work in this area. You might have seen our work in self-driving cars and robotics. Computer graphics and gaming will also be revolutionized by deep learning. Let me show you some recent works and the art of the possible. The first video is a generative adversarial network that has learned to synthesize virtual characters of any artistic genre, including photorealistic. Second is a neural network that animates a 3D face directly from voice.
You require more Vespine gas.
Ja, das ist cool.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Auch wenn es ein bisschen weniger Memes ausgekommen, ja.
And even rap and sing. Third is a character locomotion of infinite number of positions.
90 €, dass das zuerst erstmal auf irgendwelche Anime-Virtual-YouTuber-Dinger genutzt wird.
Imagine the possibilities. Record video, interact in 3D. This one is a deep learning model that learned the physics behavior of cloth animation.
Aber wozu?
Finally, this deep learning model of ray tracing can predict colors of missing pixels, so that fewer rays need to be cast and fewer pixels need to be fully rendered.
Ach, fürs Game Render. Ach so. Okay, das ist cool. Gut. Ich verstehe. Ich dachte, das wäre alles noch Teil von diesem Machinima-Quatsch.
One of the first major AI computer graphics breakthroughs is DLSS. Here's the challenge. Real-time ray tracing is far more beautiful but requires a lot more computation per pixel than rasterization. So the solution is to ray trace fewer pixels and use AI on tensor cores to up-res to super-res to a higher resolution.
DLSS auf NVIDIA funktioniert aktuell richtig gut, soweit ich weiß. Ich habe leider keinen 4K-Screen, darum kann ich das nicht super geil testen.
The DLSS model is trained on extremely high quality 16K offline rendered
mehr
images
1080p,
of many kinds of content.
Das wollte ich gerade sagen. Für 1080p war das immer ein bisschen.
At runtime, DLSS 2.0 takes in low resolution, aliased image and motion vector of the current frame, and the high resolution previous frame to generate a high resolution current frame. I think DLSS is one of our biggest breakthroughs in the last 10 years. Take a look at these images of Death Stranding, the latest game by
Das ist echt krass. Also wenn das gut gemacht ist, sieht man kaum den Unterschied. Ja, genau. Und das ist tatsächlich wahr, was da erzählt wird. Es ist nicht nur Werbequatsch.
They say its quality beats out native rendering and runs even faster. You can play at 4K without a performance hit. Tensor Core effectively gives RTX a 2x performance boost. Let's look at one frame trace of a game to see the processors of RTX in action. Adding ray tracing to games dramatically increases the computation workload. Using shaders to do ray traversal and object intersection reduces the frame rate. We added the RT Core, which reduces shader workload by 60%. RT Core offloads the shaders by doing the ray triangle and ray bounding box intersection calculations. Using the same methodology as Microsoft Xbox, the RT Core is effectively a 34 teraflop shader, and Turing has an equivalent
Das Spannendste hier aktuell ist, dass hier gerade
teraflops
eine
while ray tracing.
blöde Hausfliege
Even with RT
rumfliegt.
Core, the amount of time consumed is significant. So RT Core and shaders have to run concurrently. Even then, 20 milliseconds is only 50 frames per second, and still a step back in performance relative to previous generations. This is where the Tensor Core and DLSS come in. Rendering to a lower resolution, then using AI and super fast Tensor Core to effectively double frame rate. Now you can get ray tracing, get high resolution, and high frame rate at the same time. That's the magic of the three processors of RTX. Turing was our first generation RTX GPU, combining ray tracing, programmable shading, and AI. The flagship Turing had a ton of processing power, 11 shader teraflops, 34 RT teraflops, and 89 tensor teraflops. Let me show you our new RTX GPU. Ampere is a giant leap in performance. Ampere does 2 shader calculations per clock versus 1 on Turing, 30 shader teraflops compared to 11. Ampere doubles ray triangle intersection throughput. Ampere's RT Core delivers 58 RT teraflops compared to Turing's 34. And Ampere's new Tensor Core automatically identifies and removes less important DNA weights. And the new Tensor Core hardware processes the sparse network at twice the rate of Turing. 238 tensor flops compared to 89. Ladies and gentlemen, NVIDIA's new Ampere GPU, our second generation RTX, 28 billion transistors built on Samsung 8N NVIDIA custom process. All 3 processors double rates over Turing, a triple double. It connects to Micron's new G6X, the fastest memories ever made. The days of just relying on transistor performance scaling is over.
Bin gespannt, ob sie einen
Yet
Preis
Ampere is an
geben und
incredible
verschiedene
2
Modelle.
times the performance and energy efficiency of Turing.
Die Dinger werden
NVIDIA will use
wahrscheinlich
every
nicht
engineering
allzu
lever
billig sein.
to squeeze every drop of performance out of the system. From architecture, custom process design, circuit design, logic design, packaging, custom SerDes I/O, memory, power and thermal design, PCB design, software and algorithms. Thousands of engineers per generation, billions of dollars. Full stack engineering and extreme craftsmanship is the hallmark of our GPUs. Our performance, energy efficiency, and low power are all world class. And real application performance highlights Ampere's new RT Core. The more ray tracing is done, the greater the Ampere speedup. Ampere RT Core doubles ray intersection processing. Its ray tracing is processed concurrently with shading. And Ampere can render cinematic images with motion blur 8 times faster than Turing. Let's take a look at Ampere in action. At our kitchen GTC a few months ago, we showed Marbles, the world's first fully path-traced, photorealistic real-time graphics. It was running on our highest-end Turing Quadro RTX 8000. Turing was doing 720p, 25 frames per second. Today, we're going to run an enhanced version of Marbles with even more special effects, and it is running at 1440p, 30 frames per second, over 4 times the performance. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy Marbles at night.
Marbles. möchte mal wissen, ob das wirklich irgendwann ein richtiges Spiel wird. Und wenn ja, von wem? Ob das so ein Freebie NVidia-Ding wird? Kennt ihr diese Murmel... Es gibt einen YouTube-Sender, der macht Murmelrennen. Ich habe leider den Namen vergessen. Der ist ziemlich geil. War das Marble World Cup? Gels Marble Runs müsste das sein. Googeln. Das ist sehr unterhaltsam.
There are hundreds of area lights, including spherical area lights. There's no pre-baking, everything is dynamic. The depth of field is film quality and beautiful. Everything is dynamic. Diffuse GI, all dynamic. There are hundreds of rigid bodies, 80 million triangles. Materials are physically accurate, physics simulation and volumetric rendering in real time.
Ja, ist hübsch.
DLSS 2.0 is doing the super resolution and AI denoising. Let's compare Marble's Turing and Marble's Ampere. You can see dramatic visual quality jump of Ampere. Marble's on Turing runs at 720p, 25 frames per second. Marble's on Ampere runs at 1440p, 30 frames per second. More than 4 times the performance. And Ampere even did area lights and depth of field. A giant performance leap. Today's games are giant worlds, indoor and out, with photogrammetry, dense geometry, and lots of characters. Games are over 200 gigabytes and getting bigger. This is like 50,000 songs or 400 hours of streaming video. Games that push PC I/O and file systems to the breaking point.
ist ein merkwürdiger
CPUs
Vergleich.
copy files from disk and decompress the game image. This is fine when the storage system was slow, 50 to 100 megabytes per second. Now with Gen 4 PCI Express and solid-state drives, PCs can transfer data at 7 gigabytes per second, 100 times faster. CPU copying data to memory and decompressing game images is now the bottleneck. Decompressing data from 100 megabytes per second hard drives takes only a few CPU cores. However, decompressing from 7 gigabytes per second SSDs on PCIe Gen 4 takes over 20 CPU cores. Today, we're announcing NVIDIA RTX I/O with 3 new advances. New I/O APIs for fast loading and streaming directly from SSD to GPU memory. GPU lossless decompression. And collaboration with Microsoft on direct storage for Windows that streamlines the transfer of data from storage to GPU memory. With NVIDIA RTX I/O, vast worlds will load instantly. Picking up where you left off will be instant. This is a very big deal for next generation gaming. Let me show you Ampere in action in one of the most
das ist nur Ampere, right?
CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk.
Heißt?
This trailer is called Scenes of Cyberpunk RTX. It shows ray trace reflections, diffuse illumination, shadows, ambient occlusion, and DLSS 2.0. Enjoy.
Okay, jetzt muss ich jetzt mal schauen, ob, wie hieß das Ding? GeForce I/O? Nee, offenbar nicht. Das Logo kriegt mich jedes Mal, ey, das sieht zu gut aus.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new flagship GPU, the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080. powered by Ampere, second generation RTX architecture.
3080, nicht 90? 90 war vermutet. Preis. Bleibt's unter 1000? Gott, ey, das ist so krass. Ach ja, kommt schon. Wie hype kann man einen Trailer für eine Grafikkarte machen? Oh, leiser, aber trotz Turbinen-Soundeffekt. Okay, das ist clever. Hatte das schon mal eine Grafikkarte vorher? Hätte ich gar nicht gesehen. So einen zum Einsaugen und Auspusten.
The NVidia RTX 3080.
Preis?
I have one right here. Let me show it to you.
Oh. Oh Gott, ist das bescheuert.
Beautiful. The RTX 3080.
Wie er sich freut. Es war die ganze Zeit hinter dem Lolli-Topf.
And it lights up.
And it lights up. Oh Gott, wo würden wir hinkommen, wenn Grafikkarten plötzlich nicht mehr leuchten würden?
G6, the fastest memories at that time. The industry thought that was the limit. For Ampere, we had to push through that limit. Working with Micron, we designed the world's first memories with PAM4 signaling, pulse amplitude modulation, with 4 voltage levels that encode 2 bits of data each, 0001, 1011. Each voltage step is only 250 millivolts. So in the same period of time, G6X can transmit twice as much data as G6. PAM4 is extreme signaling technology, and it's just becoming used in high-speed networking. The Ampere thermal architecture is the first ever flow-through design.
Das ist
working harmoniously
also
with
doch die erste, ja?
cooling system, pulling in
Das ist
cool
nett.
air from the outside, flowing through the GPU,
Pustet die schöne heiße Luft
to allow room
auf
for
alles,
fan
was
to
über
flow
der
directly
Grafikkarte
through the
liegt.
module. Our engineers architect a super dense PCB
Also
design
direkt in den CPU-Kühler rein.
50% smaller than previous, while adding the bigger Ampere GPUs, HDMI 2.1, PCI Express 4.0, and G6X. There are 2 independently controlled fans. The bracket front fan pulls cool air from the bottom and pushes the heated air out through the graphics card brackets. A backside pull-through fan passes cool air
Okay,
over
nein,
the
geht
fins
nach
of
unten.
the heat pipe
Na gut.
and directs the hot air to the top and back of the chassis to be exhausted by the system fan. The 3080 flow-through system is 3 times quieter and keeps the GPU 20 degrees cooler than the Turing design. It can cool 90 watts more than Turing. The generational leap is ultimately the most important factor of new
Der
GPUs.
Jensen freut sich so.
A significant technology advance is needed to inspire content developers to create the next level of content.
Guck mal, ob die andere Grafikkarte wohl schon da rechts hinter dem Pfefferstreuer versteckt ist. Die Low Performance. Was soll das dann sein? 3060 wahrscheinlich? 3070? Wer weiß es.
Ampere is the biggest generational leap we've ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080, our new flagship GPU, powered by Ampere, our second generation RTX GPU architecture. Incredible amounts of processing in the shader, RT ray tracing core, and tensor core.
999 €.
10 gigabytes of G6X,
999.
twice the processing power.
Gerade so unter 1000.
And at the same price, starting at $699.
Oh, okay.
Available September 17th.
Das ist unerwartet.
970, 1070, 2070 were all hugely popular. You're gonna love the new RTX 3070.
Achso, wir reden von der 30, okay, wir reden nicht von der 3080, wir reden von der 3070. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new GeForce RTX 3070. Let me show it to you. It's a work of art. 20 shader teraflops, 40 RT teraflops, and 163 teraflops tensor core for AI processing. With 8 gigabytes of G6, RTX 3070 is faster than the $1,200 RTX 2080 Ti.
Ach Mann, warum habe ich mir eine gekauft? Okay, das ist okay, das ist cool.
Every generation we pack in our best ideas to increase performance.
Das ist echt nicht schlecht.
Introducing new features that enhance image quality. Every couple of generations, the stars align, as it did with Pascal, and we get a giant generational leap.
Er hat eine sehr bildgewaltige Sprache für so ein bisschen PC-Technik.
It took the super family of Turing to meaningfully exceed Pascal on game performances without ray tracing.
Guck mal, was machst du?
With ray tracing turned on, Pascal, using programmable shaders to compute ray triangle intersections, fell far behind Turing's RT core. And Turing with ray tracing on reached the same performance as Pascal with ray tracing off.
Okay.
On a technical basis, this was a huge achievement. The images are far more beautiful, and reflection and shadow artifacts are gone. But gamers want it more. They want every generation to be more realistic and higher frame rate at the same time. So we double down on everything. Twice the shader, twice the ray tracing, and twice the tensor core.
Das ist, für 500 € ist das ordentlich.
Out of Pascal on ray tracing. And even with ray tracing on, crushes Pascal on frame rate. To all my Pascal gamer friends, it is safe to upgrade now.
Toll, danke.
Amazing ray tracing games are coming. Activision and developer Treyarch are launching a new Call of Duty on November 13th. It's a masterpiece and it looks incredible. There are dynamic lights, ray tracing, shadows and ambient occlusion, DLSS 2.0, and NVidia Reflex super low latency technology. The last Call of Duty sold an amazing 30 million copies. Activision put together this trailer of never before seen footage. Enjoy.
Okay. Spiele-Trailer. Wir bekommen sie doch. Und ich sitze hier ganz allein und darf die anschauen. Sagt er Gameplay? Ich bin nicht mehr sicher, ob er Gameplay sagte. Ja, ne. Leider interessiert mich das Spiel nicht.
Several years ago, we started building the Titan, pushing the GPU to the absolute limit to create the best graphics card of that generation. It was built in limited quantities only through NVIDIA. The distribution was limited. The demand surprised us. Creatives were making 4K movies, rendering cinematics. Researchers built workstations for data science and AI. Bloggers built broadcast workstations. Flight and racing simulation fans built sim rigs. There is clearly a need for a giant GPU that is available all over the world. So we made a giant Ampere. Ladies and gentlemen, the RTX 3090.
What?
Come here. Come here, Papa.
What the fuck?
Alrighty.
Oh mein Gott, die neue Titan.
A ferocious GPU, a BF GPU. 36 shader teraflops, 69 RT teraflops, 285 tensor teraflops, and it comes with a massive 24 gigabytes of G6X.
1500 Euro.
It comes with a silencer, a 3-slot
Ja, das ist die neue Titan.
design, 10 times quieter and keeps the GPU 30 degrees cooler than the Titan RTX design. But there's more. The 3090 is so big that for the very first time, you can play games at 60 frames per second in 8K.
Okay.
This is insane.
Okay.
Because it's impossible for us to show you what it looks like on the stream, we invited some friends to check it out. Roll the clip.
Damit kann man den Flugsimulator dann auch in 60 FPS spielen.
I've never been more excited to do anything.
Oh!
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
No way.
This is f***ing incredible, dude.
This is amazing.
Holy.
The resolution on this is silly.
My God. You can see wear and tear on the treads.
Look at this.
Why is it so detailed? All right. Move fast and shoot things.
This is 8K, sir. I can see everything. Oh, I need to shoot you though.
Not a whole lot of people have seen something like this.
This is so realistic.
Wie teuer ist ein,
I feel
wie
like I'm
teuer ist ein
really in battle.
8K-Monitor?
This is
Was ist 8K?
insane. I wanna look at the
7690?
pretty things. There we go.
7690? 7680 mal 4000 irgendwas?
This is basically hacks.
And then it's like, it'll never look like that. But it does.
7680 mal 4320 Pixel.
The grand vistas that are happening right now.
Holy sh**, look at this.
This feels like a Disneyland.
Wir schauen jetzt live, wie teuer auf Amazon ein 8K-Monitor ist.
I can't believe
I mean, this is game changing. There's no other way to put it.
Jo, 3100 Euro für einen schicken 8K-Monitor.
Mind blown, dude.
It's been 20 years since the NVIDIA GPU introduced programmable shading. The GPU revolutionized
Okay,
modern
gibt auch
graphics.
billigere, aber
Developers jumped
jo.
on and invented clever algorithms, like shaders that
Wobei, nee, das
separate
ist Ultra
realistic
HD.
materials, or post-processing effects for soft shadows, ambient occlusion, and reflections. Developers pushed the limits of rasterization beyond anyone's expectations.
doch.
Meanwhile, NVIDIA GPU processing increased a stunning 100,000.
Ein Monitor. Ein Monitor gibt's auf Amazon, der 8K UHD unterstützt, soweit ich das sehe. Und der kostet 3000.
If the last 20 years was amazing, the
Hey.
next 20 will seem nothing short of science fiction. Today's Ampere launch is a giant step into the future. This is our greatest generational leap ever. The second generation NVIDIA RTX, fusing programmable shading, ray tracing, and artificial intelligence, gives us photorealistic graphics and the highest frame rates at the same time. Once the holy grail of computer graphics, ray tracing is now the standard. And Ampere is going to
Naja,
bring you joy beyond
schön
gaming.
wär's.
NVIDIA Reflex to improve your response time. NVIDIA Broadcast turns any room into a studio. And Omniverse Machinima turns you into an animated filmmaker.
Auf diesen Broadcast- und Machinima-Kram bin ich tatsächlich echt gespannt.
The first 3 members of the Ampere generation.
Vor allem
You're gonna feel a boost like never before.
beim Machinima,
I
wie
can't wait to
einfach
go
das ist.
forward 20 years to
Ob das
see what
wirklich für
RTX
jedermann
started.
ist oder ob das mehr so
Homes will
ein,
have holodecks.
für Leute,
We
die
will
eh schon
beam
Machinima
ourselves through time
YouTube
and
gestellt
space,
sind.
traveling at the speed of light, sending photons, not atoms. In this future,
Oh Gott, ey.
GeForce is your holodeck, your lightspeed starship.
Es ist eine Grafikkarte, du
In
Kasper.
this future, we will look back and realize that it started here.
It started here.
Thank you for joining us today.
Ja,
And to
gerne.
all of our fans for celebrating the arrival of Ampere.
Wundervoll. Wundervoll. Kommt noch was? Nein. Liebe Leute, das war der fantastische, wie hieß das Ding? GeForce Special Keynote Event Stream vom 1.9. Wir haben schon den 1. Es ist schon bald Weihnachten. In diesem unseren Jahr 2020. Ich bin beeindruckt, wie tief der Preis gehalten werden kann. Also 500 Euro für eine Grafikkarte, die alles Aktuelle von GeForce in die Tonne haut, ist schon eine Ansage. Da muss AMD nachliefern, wenn sie das kontern wollen. Ob ich sie mir direkt zum Launch hole? Wahrscheinlich eher nicht. Ich spiele aktuell noch auf 1080p hauptsächlich. Aber wenn das der Standardpreis von NVidia ist, dann wird die wahrscheinlich schnell verbreitet sein. Und dann sollte Next Gen auf PC auch nicht mehr viel im Weg stehen. Liebe Leute, falls das irgendwann jemand schauen wird, ich wünsche euch einen schönen Abend. Und wir sehen uns wahrscheinlich am Sonntag im Podcast oder vorher, falls noch irgendwas Tolles live passiert. Ich überlege, ob ich nochmal zu Basa streamen soll. Aber schauen wir mal. So.